Hi everyone, it's Marlene, and this young couple is my mom and dad. Now, why am I showing you a photo of my mom and dad? Um, this is from 1961. My mom would have been 20 years, my dad would have been 24. And today, on Sunday, the 2nd of November, it is 22 years ago that my daddy died. So today is a very quiet day. It's a sad day. It's a day of remembrance and of just looking back at life, what was, what could have been, what wasn't, and what I have made out of my life. My father was a very gentle man. He was a good guy through and through. He was clever, he was loving, he was fun, and he was somehow tormented by things in life that none of us really understood, never learned to understand. So when I was about 10 years old, he took to drinking. He turned to alcohol, and the next 25, 30 years of his life until it ended, he spiraled down in alcoholism, in this social deroute that you take when drinking is your primary goal, actually, in life. So he was struggling with some issues, and I think he was just simply too sensitive for this world. But when you take to drinking the way he did, he was never aggressive, he was never violent, but he was extremely obnoxious and annoying and irritating. And at the end, when you've tried everything, when you tried talking, when you tried traveling with him, I tried it, his brothers tried, my brother tried, everybody tried to connect with him like we did when he wasn't drinking, because he wasn't when he was younger. Then finally you give up and say, well, if that's his priority, if his family and his friends is not his priority, but drinking is, then there's not really anything more we can do. And we could just watch him spiraling down, and finally only drinking with the other bums and outcasts of society, because that's where you end up, on the edges, on the fringe, on the bottom of society, with other people who have similarly hard lives. And my daddy did, and he became the village idiot, the village drunk. Everybody knew him, everybody knew the family. And my family, my grandma and grandpa, were highly revered, and so was he and his four younger brothers. Everybody loves that family, and I meet that when I come to that village. Everybody held that family very high, and still do. And all our family is still in that area, very rural area, fishermen, hunters, farmers, and yeah, nobody really understood why he found life so hard that he had to drink and keep on drinking. There was probably a lot of shame or guilt or whatever connected with it. We don't know. But we do know that on a Sunday, the 2nd of November, 2003, he was drinking with Jens Thief. The name would tell you everything. A young kid, idiot, who didn't have the same background as my dad, the same stable background, but my dad wasn't really aware of people having other difficult backgrounds, and he thought he could educate them to be thinking like he was thinking. So he was drinking with this guy and a woman named Susan, who lived on the streets, who was also an alcoholic. And they were at Jens Thief's very shabby apartment in a derelict building in this village. He was not from that village, that young man, and he was a bit of a type. He was a character. And he had guns. Now, my father was a hunter back in the day. And in Denmark, you have to go through a very, very difficult test to get a license for hunting. And you also have to get registered for buying a gun. And only hunters have shotguns. And there are very strict gun rules and gun laws in Denmark. So you have to have it locked away and the ammunition in a different place and all that. And anyone else who owns a gun other than hunters are affiliated with criminals and crime. So this young man's guns were absolutely not legal. And normally you only see guns related to gangs and in the bigger cities. So this was very unusual that he had a shotgun and he had a pistol, a caliber 22. And knowing my dad, this Sunday he would have tried to educate this young man in respecting firearms and put it away. Now, Susan had told the police that she was watching or trying to watch the TV, and the two men, Jens Thief and my dad, were arguing and fighting over this pistol that the Jens guy was obviously waving about. It was his apartment, so he had it there. And at a time, she told them, "Could you please shut up? I'm trying to watch the news." And that was the 6 o'clock news in the evening. And all of a sudden, a gunshot rang out. And the next she hears is Jens Thief say, "Oh shit, I think he's dead." And he was. My dad was dead. Jens Thief hit him right here in his right temple. You'll see it as my left temple. It wasn't. It was the right temple. And he died instantly. And in all that sorrow of that, that was a consolation to me because he never got afraid. He never saw what was coming. And he just died. And at his funeral, we were told to prepare ourselves because there was a hole. They couldn't cover it completely. There would be a hole here in his temple, but the bullet got stuck in his brain, so there was no exit wound, and it wasn't that bad, but we should prepare ourselves. So I prepared myself mentally to see him, and what I saw when Daddy was in that coffin was not a scary hole. You could see the hole, you could see the wound there, but his face was completely relaxed. There was no fear. There was no, and I'm crying now because it was very, it still moves me a lot to see him for the first time in decades looking relaxed the way he did when I was a child, looking completely relaxed and with no fear and no anxieties and no, I've watched him sleep a few times in those years, and he did not have a calm sleep. He was whimpering. He was crying. He was screaming in his sleep. He had terrible nightmares and had a tormented look on his face, but not when he was in the coffin. He was completely relaxed and so beautiful. And that was a comfort to me. And my dad used to tell me that he was very, very proud of me. He always told me. And it had absolutely no reason whatsoever. There was nothing specific to be proud about, but he always told me he was proud of me. He also told me he loved me, but only when he was drunk. He rang me up and said, "I love you, my girl." And say, and my reaction to it in the final years of his life was, "Well, that's all okay, Dad. Could you please just call me when you're sober and tell me that?" "Well, I'm sober." "No, you're not. You're drunk now. Could you please call me when you're sober? Just once and tell me you love me." And he never did. He never did. Not because he didn't love me. I'm sure he did. But I guess because of shame, somehow. But he always told me he was proud of me. and I carry him with me every day. Today I'm crying a bit because it's stupid to waste so much good life and potential the way he did. And his death and the way he was killed and had to leave this life uh, made me take the decision to walk away from alcohol for good and turn my life around, and I did. So I haven't had a drop of alcohol for 22 years almost. In February, it will be 22 years. And he comes visit me every now and again. He's with me out here. And even though it's a shabby little cabin and I am poor as a church mouse, he would sit here with me and we could take walks in the forest with my dog, and he would tell me how proud he is of me. And I was proud of him, and I was sad to see his life spiral down and away the way it did. And I was very saddened that he had to leave this world the way he did, violently, because he was an absolutely non-violent man. But he died without fear. He never had the time to be afraid, and that was a consolation to me, that he didn't feel fear in the moment of death, and he looked so much at peace and at ease when he was lying there in his coffin. So this is just a little shout out to my dad, and a shout out to everyone, that there are people who love you and who are devastated if you throw your life away living stupidly. So don't do it. Turn to the people who love you. Don't be ashamed. They will love you. They will help you. They will take care of you. No matter what. But shame is what you have to live with. I was a drunk for 25 years before I walked away, and I have a lot of shame about a lot of behavior that I had. But I have forgiven myself, mostly. And you have to do that. You have to forgive yourself, you have to forgive your people, and you have to try to make the best of what you've been given in life. And I do that now, and I remember my dad, and I'll just turn the camera back to mom and dad, especially dad, and ask you to just watch him for a short moment, and send your good wishes to Jens Erik, which was my dad's name. Sweet daddy, may you rest in eternal peace. Bye bye, everyone. I hope you just take this to heart and not be too saddened by it. But I loved him. I still do. He's with me every day. Bye bye for now. I'll see you on the next video.